Last spring, a gardener opened a paper envelope of zinnia seeds they had saved themselves the previous autumn. They had done everything right. Waited until the heads went brown, harvested on a dry day, crumbled the heads, pulled the seeds, stored them somewhere cool and dark. They sowed the whole packet. About a third of it came up, and they concluded quietly that they were just not very good at saving seeds. What actually happened there is almost never what people think, and it is not a timing problem, it is a sorting problem. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Every zinnia flower head contains seeds that will grow and seeds that were never going to grow, sitting side by side in the same handful. If nobody told you how to tell them apart, you save all of them and plant all of them, and the proportion that were viable is the proportion that comes up. You are not bad at seed saving. You were storing chaff and calling it seed. Today I am showing you the 2-second test that separates them, plus the harvest signal, the thing to check on your packet before you bother saving anything, and the drying step almost everyone cuts short. Hit subscribe before we start, because this channel gives you the specific test and the specific number instead of vague advice every week for free. And drop your state or zone in the comments because Zinnia seed timing shifts by weeks across this country. I read every single one. Let me start with the mistake because everything else follows from it. Pull apart a fully dried zinnia head and tip it into your palm. What you are looking at is not one type of seed. It is a mixture. Zinnias produce arrowhead-shaped seeds at the base of their petals. Those are the rayflower seeds, the classic shape everyone pictures. But the center of the flower, the disc, produces seeds too, and those are often elongated and thin rather than arrowhead-shaped. So already in one handful, 2 legitimate shapes. That alone makes people throw away good seed. Mixed through both, the ones that never finished. Immature zinnia seeds are often pale white or green and are unlikely to germinate. Seeds that are flat, pale, or flimsy will not come up. And actual chaff, dried petal fragments, bits of flower structure, papery debris that looks close enough to seed that it ends up in the envelope with everything else. Now here is the test that sorts all of it in 2 seconds. Pick up a seed and press it between your thumb and finger. The key to identifying a potentially viable seed is that it will feel firm and solid. Firm and solid means viable. If it gives, if it feels papery, if it feels like nothing at all, it will not grow. Then confirm with your eyes. Mature harvest. Ready zinnia seeds are darker, running from dark beige through brown to gray and almost black. Pale white, pale green, or translucent means it never finished developing. Firm. And dark, keep it. Soft and pale, drop it. 2 seconds a seed. And the difference to your germination next spring is not small because you stop diluting good seed with material that was never going to do anything. Now let me back up because there is a decision that comes before any of this and it takes 10 seconds. Go and look at the seed packet those zinnias came from. You are looking for one word: hybrid. Hybrids are a first-generation cross between 2 parent varieties, and because they are a cross, there is no guarantee about what their seed will produce next year. They may revert to looking more like one of the parents rather than what you just grew. Here is why, and it makes it easier to remember. Very often the parents of a hybrid are unremarkable plants. It is the cross between them that produces the big, vigorous flower you bought. Saves seed from that flower, and the next generation scatters back across the whole genetic range, including the unimpressive parents. Hybrid plants carry a vast array of genetic variation, so their seed produces offspring highly variable in size, shape, and color. You can still save it. Just know you are running a lottery rather than making a copy. Open-pollinated varieties, heirlooms included, come back looking like what you grew. If seed saving is the point, buy open-pollinated in the first place. Now, the second thing people worry about, and I want to take the pressure off here, if you grow more than one variety of zinnia, bees have almost certainly crossed them. To achieve genuinely pure seed, zinnia varieties need to be isolated by half a mile. Half a mile. That is not happening in a suburban back garden. Southern Exposure Seed Exchange addresses it directly. No rule says you need absolutely pure seed. It is fine to save even if there has been a little promiscuous pollination, and you may get fun surprise variation next season. Seed Savers Exchange puts it more positively. Allowing zinnias to cross-pollinate can lead to neat color variations. Unless you are producing seed to sell, cross-pollination is not a failure. It is the interesting part. You get combinations next year that you did not plant and could not have bought. Now the harvest signal, and this is where three things all have to be true at once. Most people know the first one. Wait until the head is brown. But brown petals alone is not the signal, and that is where early harvesting happens. Signal 1. The flower head, including the petals, should be brown and completely dry on the plant. Signal 2. The one people skip. The stem below the head turns brown, loses its green color, and starts to feel hollow. That confirms the head is no longer drawing moisture or nutrients from the plant. While that stem is still green, the plant is still feeding the seed, and the seed is not finished. Signal 3. Crispy to the touch, not leathery, not soft. Crispy. Brown head, brown stem, crispy. All three, or leave it another week. There is a fourth condition, and it is about the weather. Always harvest on dry days after several days without rain because moisture increases the risk of mold and rot. If you have had a wet stretch and the season is closing, cut the nearly dry stems and hang them upside down in a well-ventilated indoor space until they finish drying. And the question everyone asks. You can harvest zinnia seeds after the first light frost, provided the seeds had time to mature and the heads are dry. Frost is not the deadline people think it is. Immaturity is. If any of this is useful, hit the like button. One tap, and it puts this in front of the next gardener, who is about to store a jar of chaff and blame themselves next spring. Now, the actual processing, which has two proper names worth knowing. The first is threshing. Gently crumble and rub the seed heads to release the seeds from the plant material. Or pull the petals off first, set them aside for composting, then rub the head over a flat surface until it comes apart. Watch as you pull those petals because some seeds come off attached to them. That is rayflower seed sitting right at the petal base, and people throw away a good portion of their harvest in the petal pile without realizing. The second is winnowing. Use a fan or your breath to separate mature seed from chaff and immature seed. Lighter material blows away, heavier seed stays. And here Seed Savers Exchange says something you rarely hear from a seed organization. Winnowing improves quality by removing immature seed, and chaff can carry disease, insect eggs, and excess moisture. However, it is difficult to clean them completely, and it is not necessary for home gardeners. If you are saving for your own use, you can skip winnowing after threshing, then scatter the seed next year and let the remaining chaff act as mulch. So the honest version. If the seed is for you, thresh and skip the winnowing. If it is a gift or going into long-term storage, clean it properly. Now the step almost everyone cuts short, and it is the one that quietly ruins otherwise perfect seed. After threshing and winnowing, dry the seeds in a thin layer out of direct sunlight for at least 3 weeks. Run your fingers through them once or twice a day to allow good airflow. 3 weeks, not 3 days. I know they feel dry. They came out of a crispy brown head. But residual moisture is invisible, and it causes mold, internal decay, and clumping in storage. Seeds that are not fully dried often deteriorate within weeks of being put away. There is a second reason to give it the full 3 weeks. Drying hardens the seed coat, which protects the embryo from physical damage and environmental stress during storage, and increases the chance the seed survives dormancy and germinates next spring. So you are not just removing water. You are building the armor that gets the seed through winter. Thin layer, out of direct sun, stir daily, 3 weeks. Now storage, and there is one material rule that matters more than the rest. Never use plastic bags because they trap moisture. Use a breathable container while the seed is still drying, like a mesh basket, a tray, or a paper bag. For long-term storage, paper envelopes. Label them with the plant name, the variety, and the year collected. Write it down the moment you seal it. Once you are saving seed from more than one plant, it is very easy to forget which flower produced which seeds, and zinnia seeds from different varieties look almost identical. Then store in a cool, dark, dry place. A cupboard away from any heat source, or the refrigerator. Do that, and correctly stored Zinnia seeds remain viable for 3 to 5 years, sometimes longer. Germination rates are highest in the first 2 to 3 years and decline gradually after that. If you have older seed and you are not sure, test it. Put a few seeds on a damp paper towel before the main sowing season and see how many sprout. 10 seeds tells you what the whole packet is going to do, and it takes a week. One last thing, because it comes up constantly and the answer surprises people. You cannot save seed from a bouquet. Seeds only develop if the flower is pollinated and left to mature on the plant. Cut flowers are harvested in their prime, before seed development begins, so the seeds will not be viable even if they appear to form. If you want seed, some flowers have to be left standing on the plant and never cut. Choose your best plants, the healthiest ones with the colors you actually want, and let those go to seed while you cut the rest for the vase. Here's the whole thing. Check the packet first because hybrid seed is a lottery and open-pollinated seed is a copy. Stop worrying about cross-pollination because the surprises are the fun part. Wait for all 3 signals: brown head, brown stem, crispy, on a dry day. Thresh by crumbling and check the petals for seeds before you compost them. Skip winnowing if the seed is for you. Dry in a thin layer for 3 full weeks. Stirring daily. Paper. Never plastic. Labeled. Cool and dark. And before any of it goes into the envelope, run the test, press each seed. Firm and dark stays. Soft and pale goes. That single step is the difference between a packet that comes up patchy and one that comes up thick, and it is the thing almost nobody is told. 3 quick things before you go. Subscribe and hit the bell because next I am covering how to sow these in spring for the strongest possible germination, and that is the other half of getting this right. Hit like if the firm and dark test was new to you because that is what shows this to the next person. And drop 2 things in the comments: your state or zone, and whether the zinnias you are saving from are hybrid or open-pollinated. I read every comment and I answer as many as I can. Now go and pick up a handful of your saved seed and squeeze a few. You will know within about 10 seconds what you have actually been storing.